Hey everyone, and welcome to the final Week 16 review, playoffs, round 1, Week 1, overall preview, playoffs. Joel Gibson, how are we doing, Joel?
We're fantastic.
You know who's also fantastic? Your commissioner, your champion, your all-around good guy, Mr. Modest is doing fantastic tonight.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Excellent. There's not a lot of interesting matchups or anything like that. It's going to be a lot of repeats from last week if people were paying attention. So we're just going to buzz right through these. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to everybody doing this during halftime because we care about you. The first matchup is me beating Eric. Eric didn't have Greek. Without Greek and me getting Joker back, it was destiny.
Yeah, that was tough. Eric did keep it within single digits, so, shout out to Eric.
Absolutely, and I deny Eric his 10th win of the season. So, as we talked about last week, a 10-win season's a good season. Eric, very subpar season, my friend. Only 9 wins. That is subpar for sure. I'm sorry to do that to you. He will move to 9-7 overall. I will move to 15-1. And wouldn't you know it, Joel Gibson, 15-1 is only good enough for 3rd in this league. This is crazy town. That hurts. That hurts a lot. Anything on how good I am?
Definitely not. Definitely not on that. I will put it out there early. The 10 wins, I think, means a really good season. I do think that 9 wins is actually a solid season, and I'm sure we'll get to why I believe that. But I think 9 wins is pretty solid. 10 just being kind of that benchmark of 50-ish wins of a real NBA team.
Excellent. I can't imagine why you feel that way. Next matchup is Kyle taking care of Cody. This matchup kind of had a bunch of injuries, but, Kyle used another free agency dollar this week. Two? Who else did he add beside that Wizard guard? Go ahead.
He added someone today, and he added someone the other day. I fucking honestly don't remember.
Oh, I didn't know I didn't even look who added who today. That is wild. I know he added that Wizard guard, that Wizard 3 spot. I can't remember what his name is.
Super solid.
Yeah, super good ad, especially from a rookie spot as well. I considered adding him, but I just have so many good rookies. It's hard. Congratulations to Kyle. He's the number 1 seed. Cody didn't cycle here. And without Luka for part of the week, without Giddey all week,
Zubac traded.
Yeah, it was a tough go, like I said, even for both of these teams as far as scheduling went. So Kyle wins. He also beats me in overall points, so he is the number 1 seed. And Cody, he's the number 10 seed, as we talked about last week. No changes.
Yeah. Kyle added, I'm going to fuck this name up, something fierce. Yannick Conan Niederhauser.
Oh, from the Clippers. Yeah, the so-called now starting center from the Clippers. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, okay. Good for him.
Yeah, I put it at fine as well.
Excellent. Next matchup is Adam taking care of Doug. Doug had no reason to really play his players here. Adam had a really good week as far as his team goes, especially without being with Levine for a good portion. But, I don't know. We both picked Adam last week. We thought that they were going to win. Doug added Gigi. He outbid, for the record. Shout out to Doug. He did $2. Both Kyle and I had a bid in for Gigi at $1. So it's really interesting. The top 3 seeds all bet. Doug having more free agency money as the other 2 as well. Just a little bit of shout out to Doug, keeping that free agency money and using it correctly. I think Gigi is going to be pretty solid headed down the stretch at least.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Doug lost by a significant margin this week, but it feels like he's holding his fire. He's got a lot of free agency money. He's got cap space to work with. Obviously, he has one of the top 3 guys in fantasy in Wemby. It feels like he's just waiting for the playoffs. So we'll see if that's the case or if he's looking more long term. My second question, or really, I guess the question I have for you is Jarris Walker good? Because I can't really make up my mind. I feel like every time I look at this guy, it's either like a great box scorer or a horrible box scorer. And I was invested there for a minute.
You were invested. I was invested. I think the answer is he's very up and down. I think that he could be good, but then you're going to look to next year when Hallie's back, Siakam, Zubac. It's really tough to say. Like Nemhard will move over to your 2 guard. It's interesting to say, like, is he going to be that usage player in the future? I don't think so. But, like, for this year, especially down the stretch, I think he's going to have absolutely electric games, and I think he's going to have bad games like he's been doing, and that turns out to be a very average player. So it just depends on where he lands those monster games and where he lands the bad games, honestly.
Yeah, well, maybe one day he puts it together and is an above-average player, but right now it's highs and lows, baby.
Highs and lows, that's it. Adam is going to end up at the number 6 seed. He also has 9 wins, but he has the tiebreaker divisionally over Joel. Take some of that, Joel Gibson. Take some of that.
I'm going to mention again that 9 wins. It's a pretty fucking good season. So congratulations to Adam. Doug, pretty good season by you too, man. I feel like I might be seeing more of you in the near future.
I think so too. Next matchup is Jake versus CJ. Jake loses here and locks up at least a top 2 pick, perhaps more depending on Matt fares in the consolation bracket. CJ gets that coveted 10th win. Some bad news about AD likely not coming back this year. just some bad news for CJ in general. I do feel a little bit bad for him. No free agency money and a little bit in cap trouble. Just a tiny little bit in cap trouble. But he is a top 4 team, and he did have 10 wins this year.
He did have 10 wins. CJ, I feel like, is like the early 2000 Knicks where they just had a bunch of like guys past their prime. Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard. Like, he's just gathering all Bradley Beal, Nikola Vucevic, all these guys that were like awesome players and are now like good to dwindling to mediocre and one day bad players.
Yeah.
He's got a window here where, I mean, we saw it with Matt one year where he just was healthy and it was unlikely and he got all of us, not because he had the best team, but because he was healthy. The odds of that happening for CJ are pretty low, but if it happened, he might just fucking annihilate one year.
Yeah, I agree. It is absolutely devastating for him, though, that Vooch went to the Celtics. Absolutely devastating for him and his prospects this year, and quite frankly, his prospects next year.
Do you think he's starting over Keita?
Boy, I think he'll start. I think he'll be like a 27-minute starter and be like a 12-8 guy with no defense whatsoever.
If it goes down to like 23 to 24 minutes, that's a really rough salary to have on CJ's books.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because maybe that's a salary dump option for him. I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you, what, 37? Is that what he's at? 32, $37? I'm not paying for like top 10 value even without trying to move them at that amount.
$37 confirmed.
Ooh, $37. That's crazy. That would get him even to the cap, $30 under the cap with one move if he's willing to give up quite possibly a non-double-double player. Yeah, yikes. Let's see here. Oh, are you back? You flipped
I'm
off
back.
there. Excellent. But we'll see what happens in the offseason. This offseason is going to be interesting as well. Next matchup is Joel versus Neiman. Neiman did not play anybody despite it not mattering. Congratulations, Joel. You have 9 wins.
Trampled them. 3-0, baby. Let's go.
You have the ultimate momentum moving into the playoffs against a team that has lost 2 weeks straight for the record. You have the momentum, my friend.
Well, usually in fantasy, if you have a bad week, the next week you swing back big, and that was not the case for Neiman. Sometimes I'm hilarious.
Yeah, I guess so.
Neiman did not stand a chance considering he didn't play a single soul. So good win for me. I'll take it. 9 wins is a good season. God damn it.
Okay, glad to hear it. Excellent. You know who else didn't play anybody? Steven against Matt. Matt gets the win. Matt moves to 5-11 and the number 9 in the consolation. Had he just been able to pull off the upset over Kyle, maybe we'd be having a different conversation. Or if he was cycling at any part this year or even remotely tried, he might have been in the playoffs.
Well, Matt, thank goodness, has, Doug's pick. That's his only first rounder this year.
Yeah, so that's gonna be an 11. That's gonna be a hard 11.
One of the worst teams in the league gets one of the worst picks.
I know, that's a hard 11. He is fighting for Jake though in the consolation bracket. Steven ends the year with 2 wins and 14 losses. A rough year for Steven, but is guaranteed.
He has his own pick.
Yes, he does have his own pick, and he is guaranteed a top 3 pick. So congratulations to Steven. Oh boy. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I do have a question for you before we move on.
Okay, shoot.
Is Matt the leader right now for the twat?
Because you're right, Jake and Steven didn't try. Matt tried his heart out.
They have their own picks, though. So there's justification. Matt just sucks.
It'll be the first time a 9 seed. It'll be the first time a 9 seed wins that award if it happens. So
I just want to put it out there. Award season, it's not far off, and I want to throw Matt as an early nominee.
Excellent.
Put it in your mind.
Excellent. All right. With that being said, that concludes the 2025-2026 regular season. Where did all the time go? Wowza. Well, outside of that, we will move into playoffs.
Give me the matchups.
Okay, Joel doesn't even know the matchups. I'm putting them in manually on Fantrax, so I went through and finalized everything. We'll start with the consolation bracket.
You tease.
We'll start with the consolation bracket, as I affectionately call the battle for the number one pick. It is on Fantrax, and these should be updated tonight, so you'll wake up tomorrow and you'll get to see your matchups after this anyway. But we have first Jake, 1-15 Jake, number 12. Versus 5-11, number 9, Matt Hobert. Here it comes. Jake's gonna set his lineups for the first time this season. Jake is gonna set them, I believe it. And Matt's gonna try to upset some people. Not even.
The number one pick is on the line.
It's so funny because Jake has Matt's number one pick. So Jake has to decide which team he wants to move on and play for the number one pick.
If I'm Jake, I'm setting my lineups because you have no guarantee that Matt is going to give a fuck and set his lineups.
It's certainly interesting. Man. I think Matt's been on a mission to he tried to upset me, didn't work. Tried to upset Kyle, didn't work. He did upset you, which did work for the record. So we'll see what happens here. Yeah, this is interesting for sure. Should Jake lose, he gets the 2 and whatever Matt ends up with. It's an interesting situation because the next matchup, and then we'll do our picks, is Steven, number 11, versus number 10, Cody. Cody's the home team here. Cody's pretty injured. Steven also needs to be setting his lineups here. I'm going to be interested to see. Cody does have enough free agency money to get through this consolation here, but is he going to be healthy enough to get through the consolation? I'm going to pick the 2 home teams here. I'll just get them out of the way. I think Matt and Cody. If I'm Jake, I am probably okay with where my bottom is right now if Matt wants to double cycle against Cody. Unless, it just depends, because Jake can play the slow game and, set his lineups and see how close they are in matchup. And if it's Matt's killing them anyway, it won't matter. But if they're close enough, then you can make the decision. Do you think you can keep up with Cody? But if you do that, you're actually playing against yourself here, because then Matt would end up being in that 9 spot, and it would make Jake's pick a 4 pick. So even if he won the first pick, he'd have 1 and 4. But if he loses and Matt ends up getting the first, he has 1 and 2. So it's an interesting decision from Jake here. I think Matt's going to win that matchup. And then I think Cody's just too strong to beat Steven. But I'd love to see a double cycle from Steven. He has his number 1 pick. There's no reason not to shoot for the moon on this one. I'm interested to see what happens.
So I blacked out there for a second. But I'm going to pick Jake. I know that's not what you picked. But I think it's going to be Jake. Matt has no incentive to win. So unless he has a fuck you message to send, which I support, I don't know. I don't see why he goes for it. Jake has reason to go for it. He could have the number 1 pick in a loaded draft. If I'm him, this is when I pay attention. This is what it's all been for. This is why I sat all those fuckers. As for Cody versus Steven, I'm gonna pick Cody, even injured. I feel as though he will be more invested on the wire if that's what it comes down to than Steven. Steven's gonna be happy with a top 3 pick. That's my prediction. So I'm picking Cody and I'm picking Jake.
All right. Wow. A little bit different there for me. So that'll be interesting to see. With that being said, we'll get to the playoffs, Joel Gibson. And out of respect, we're going to start with the number 1 seed. He's earned it. Kyle is home against Neiman. Neiman tried his hardest to tank and get into that consolation bracket. It didn't work. It did not work. About halfway through the season with like a 500 record, he's like, hey, let's see how many games I can lose. And
I think it's particularly interesting. I'm not super deep into the draft, but what I've heard right now is it's like a top 3 with a 4th guy potentially. So Neiman falling to the 5 spot, right?
Yep.
Could mean he just fell short of a really game-changing guy.
Yeah, and this is interesting here. It's so funny to me because I like to bring it back to when I beat Neiman when it was 8 versus 1. He's now 8 versus 1, and kind of a wounded duck with Kyle where if Neiman goes to a cycle here, he could really put Kyle in a position where he might have to cycle. And if Kyle has to cycle and waste all of the rest of his money, he's basically a sitting duck. There's a chance we could have 2 sitting ducks on that side of the bracket, and we'll get there. But I'm going to pick Kyle here, but I think Neiman has a real shot at least making it competitive. And if Kyle has to use his last few dollars, I imagine he does. So I just like Kyle's team a little bit more here. So I'm going to go Kyle, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than everybody thinks it is.
For interested parties, Kamish, what does Neiman have to lose here? So if he were just to open a motherfucking double, triple cycle up on Kyle, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything to be lost?
No, he has nothing to lose. He can literally play.
To be super clear.
Right. He literally can just go right at him, and there's an interesting schedule here where there's a lot of many game days too, that if you really want to open the double cycle, and as long as you play your back-to-backs okay, you could realistically add, and I'm not joking, you could probably get an extra 15 games if Kyle doesn't cycle. And that's like an average of 1 additional game per day. But if you're double cycling on the off days, like there's a real, I'm not joking. I think 15 is possible in the first round. And I say that because I've looked into it. 15 games is an absolute like shit ton, for the lack of a better word. And that could really open up some things against Kyle. Should Neiman figure it out and pay attention?
Yeah, really the question is, does Neiman have that many cycle spots open? And just looking at his team, I'm not sure. But I hope he does.
It'll be up to him. It'll be up to him to make the decision. Does he want revenge for 3 years ago or 2 years ago when I upset him? We'll just have to find out. The next matchup, the number 2 seed, still out of respect. Look at how respectful I am as a champion, as a commissioner. This is absolutely a show of humbleness, quite frankly. Absolute humbleness. Doug is facing...
Oh, my God.
Doug at home, the number 2 seed, is facing our good friend Joel Gibson, the number 7 seed. And quite frankly, I think this is matchup of the first round, including consolation bracket. I am most interested to see this one. Doug has free agency money. Joel technically does have free agency money enough to get it done. And it might come down to healthiness. I also think that it might come down to being the home team as well. I'm going to take Doug here, but it would be an interesting situation if Joel can pull this off.
So, I'm going to compare it to when the early Warriors played the Spurs, and it was close. I forget what year that was, but it was a battle to the death. Mm-hmm. And at the end, the Warriors won the respect, but the Spurs won the matchup. And I think that's where it's going to ultimately end up for Doug.
Okay.
At this point, he's had several guys that he could cycle throughout the year, and he's just held his fire. I mentioned this earlier in the video. I got to think that he was waiting for playoffs to just fucking open up his cycle spot. And he's a smart owner. He pays attention. He knows who's playing and who's not. I think his ads will be meaningful and impactful. And if he really wants to go for it, he will be able to add more guys than I will. I'm going to pick Doug, but I am going to go right at you, Doug. Good luck. If I beat you, I will not apologize, but I am going to pick you.
Excellent. That is, wow, that was a very, what do I want to say? A very respectful analysis of your matchup, Joel Gibson. Some might even say humble. Not as humble as me, but definitely humble. As we talk about humble people, let's talk about the champs matchup. Let's talk about the number 3 seed. Let's talk about the also 15-1. Let's talk about how I didn't have Joker for half the season, Reeves for half the season, Booker. I was playing 3-4 men down at one point. I'm still the 3 seed at home, and it doesn't matter because I have the greatest fantasy basketball player again this year. Everybody wanted to talk about it. It was Wemby definitely going over. It's not. It's going to continue to be Joker, and I'm playing Adam this week, and I'm going to beat Adam these coming weeks. 15 actual total days, and I will win all 15 days of this matchup, Joel Gibson. I want you to check in on every day that we play. Each individual day, I am going to win this matchup, and I'm going to win this matchup overall. Much respect for Adam. Not your turn this year. I'm going for 5 in a row, baby. The champ, the commish, Buzzsaw, Dragon Slayer. It's playoff time, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick you. I don't like it, but I am gonna pick you. I wish Adam had a better shot at you, but it feels like you're getting healthy at the right time with Reeves and Jokic.
And Book's back now.
And Book. You have a good team. Adam would have to open up the cycle, really go after you. If that is the approach he's taking, I really respect it, but I could also see him taking a more measured approach and giving it his best shot, but maybe holding his fire and seeing if he could get you in years to come.
Hey, we'll see how it goes. Also, keep in mind I have the exact amount of free agency dollars as I could add if I added one player every day. So let's not talk about if Adam wants to open up the double cycle. If he wants to do that, I have 2 players ready to drop right now. I've got them right now. I don't even have a full team right now, Joel Gibson. Does anybody else notice that I only have 17 and 2 rookies right now? I can add somebody without dropping, and I'm still going to win every single day. AKA Buzzsaw, AKA humble. I'm humble, bro.
You're such a bitch.
The last matchup is the 4-5 matchup. It is CJ getting a home playoff matchup, 10-6 against Eric, who is 9-7. Came on late. Man, I'm going to shock you here. I've been kind of shitting on CJ all year. I think CJ's going to win this matchup. And here's why I say it. Without Greek, Eric is in a huge amount of trouble. And we know we're at least not going to see Greek till the All-Star break. The Bucks have no reason to bring him back to play. They may just shut him down entirely. And CJ, without AD, he's still playing a man down. Unless Eric is added and paying attention to the wire, I think CJ's just a little bit deeper and might be a little bit healthier as far as people playing, we'll say. I know that, Eric's is he still without Jalen? I think he is. He has a few.
Jalen's back.
Jalen is back. Man, I did not notice that, especially when I have Book and Gillespie. They were fine last night. I didn't notice anything.
Just to give you a run, Jamal Murray has a flag, but not an out flag next to the name. DeAndre Hunter has an out flag next to his name. Norman Powell has a flag. Malik Monk has an out flag.
Yeah.
Giannis is on the IR. Porzingis is on the IR, and that is the rundown of injuries on Eric's team. I don't know if that makes a difference in your mind.
Ooh, it's a little bit closer than I thought. Yeah, because
do you want the rundown on CJ's team?
yeah, just throw it at me just in case. It's our last matchup. We're doing fine.
Embiid's got a flag. DeJounte Murray is still out. McBride is out. Middleton has a flag, but not an out flag. Anthony Davis is out. Beal out. Butler out.
Shit! I'm taking Eric. Never mind.
And then Paul George is, of course, suspended.
Suspended. Yikes, man. Okay, I'm taking Eric. I have changed my mind.
Does it change your mind again to know that Isaiah Collier is playing like a fucking monster right now with 20 assist games?
No, it doesn't, because that's not going to make up for 5 people out and him not having a full roster. That's not going to do it. Wow. Eric is...
CJ has exactly... Oh, wait. 0 FA dollars
I should have stuck with it the whole time. Damn it. I went out there and was saying I had a good feeling, but I didn't know it was that bad. Yikes. Okay, I'm going to take Eric, but Eric should also be paying attention on the wire as well, just in case. But yikes, that's a lot.
I'm also picking Eric. I know that we're at the end of this, but will you give me a rundown of what you believe the winners are going into next week?
What I believe the winners are.
Yeah?
Kyle, Doug, myself, and Eric.
That is who you believe the top 4 are. If you didn't hear your name listed, just know that you should send Brandon a direct fuck you text this week and give it your all, boys.
What? I mean, what? You can't just set me up like that. That's a crazy thing to do. See, I would ask you who you wanted, but nobody in this league gives a shit about what you want, bro. So don't bring that shit in here. All right, for those of you that waited until the end, I hope you enjoyed that last joke. That one I thought was really funny. That may have been a season winner right there. Anything else from you, Joel Gibson?
Good luck, Doug.
Excellent. And, yeah, I mean, good luck, Adam. Every day I'm winning, though. Every day. Check it. See you guys.